Call of Duty 2. To be honest, I didn't want to play that game after I played the first one and was frustrated by it. But my friends, I don't regret I did. First of all, the game runs without technical issues at all. It won't crop if your Windows scaling is not 100%. You can set high resolution and overall graphics quality advanced a lot. You also have more settings to tweak. Of course, it's not without some problems. For example, you can see the actual value of the mouse sensitivity slider, but you cannot enter it directly, only by dragging slider, and it's not very precise. There are still no separate sliders for adjusting sound effects and speech volume, but I must admit that they worked on audio levels and you can hear the dialogues when shooting. You can't manually save anymore, and I wanted to complain about it at first, but with such big number of checkpoints, it was not a problem at all. Gameplay was reworked too. First aid kits are removed, now you regenerate health over time, and I think it's a good change for such fast-paced game. Player can scale obstacles, which was not possible in the first game. Weapons feel much better. That atrocious muzzle flash taking half of your screen is finally gone. They placed explosive barrels in some areas, which definitely adds more fun to the game. It's always nice to blow something up. NPC's movement animations look significantly better. Crosshair changes color when you look at the enemy or friendly, which is quite convenient. Enemies can be injured and they will still try to shoot back with a pistol. Your allies are not useless garbage like they are in modern Call of Duty games. They actually shoot and kill enemies. Soldiers speak Russian without accent. All text I have seen is grammatically correct. That's great considering how most of the high budget movies suck at this. Levels have significantly more details. They don't look like empty corridors anymore. Sure, enemies are still dumb as fuck, but with much better level design, it's not that boring to shoot them. Large scale actions look much more plausible than it was in the first game. The game has lots of well-staged scenes like this one, where you blow up the entire building in which Germans have barricaded themselves. There's also a tank mission, and it's a lot more fun because you have to close the distance with superior enemy tanks and use high speed of your own tank as an advantage. In the first game you could drive the tank very slowly and it was rather boring. And as for the weak sides, for some reason they removed the ability to sprint. Luger shooting animation is a joke. The only tactic used by enemies is grenade spam. I mean, seriously, they use them too often, and if in the first game they could throw 4 grenades in a row, now they throw 5, simultaneously.
Run, bitch! Run!
In American campaign, Germans' uniform looks very similar to the Americans, so sometimes it was hard to differentiate them. Plot is on the weak side again. We have events separated by pretty large periods of time, but I must admit that the story consistency is better here, and there is also a diary note before each mission now, which is great. In the first mission you learn to throw grenades, using potatoes because grenades are valuable, but it's a wartime. People starved, nobody would waste food like that. They could have just used rocks. Chasing tanks with sticky explosives looks a little bit stupid. There's some signs in Russian like this one in the mission pipelines, which means go this way. When you do something like that, you should always add a translation via interface when the player looks at the sign. Also it should be like that with the foreign speech. If someone there speaks German, just add subtitles. It would be good to understand what was said or written if you don't know the language. Unfortunately, briefings before missions don't have subtitles too, just like the way it was in the first game. So what's the verdict? Despite having some issues from the first game, the second game fixes a crucial one: gunplay. You have to enjoy shooting in a shooter, and this game allows you to do that. I can't call this game as a must-have to play today, but if you do, you'll have some positive emotions. Especially if you won't try to rush it in a single run. Just take your time, make a break when it starts to feel boring, and come back another day. 3 evenings, 1 campaign at a time, and you should be fine. Fortunately, this game makes you want to come back the next day. Looking at Call of Duty 2, we can see that people who made it actually cared about what they were doing. They worked on their mistakes and tried to make a good game, and not just make money like most game studios do today.